My monster of a cat has decided he is up and hungry. So you're going to hear him and probably see um, little bits of him every once in a while. So what I've done is just taken all my browns and some of my pinks. I've decided for in the nose and mouth area that I'm going to do a coral color. But for now, we're going to focus here on the ear. And it looks here to me, when we look at the picture based off this color swatching, we've definitely got some terracotta, which I'm going to start with. We've also got here some burnt sienna. And then we've got some darker areas, which is going to have some gray and almost like a blue tinge to it, which will probably put mortem violet in those areas. So we'll just get that out here. And then we've also got like a dark brown, which looks almost like the walnut brown. And at the very tip of the ear, looks like brown ochre. But I'm wondering if I should go with the walnut brown or the Van Dyke brown for the main part of the ear. Kitty's over here driving me nuts. Okay, so we're gonna start with the light areas, trying to keep the pencils in order as the cat tries to knock them all over. You're probably gonna see his paw in a minute because he's eyeing at my pencil. So we're going to do a light line. You get over here. We're going to do a light line to about here. Some light circular motions. And then down the side of the ear. Of the terracotta. So I'm going to grab my pencil eraser and I'm going to get rid of, if I can find it here, I'm going to get rid of some of these lines that we're going to be working on. I just do it faintly. I usually use like a light gray. I don't use pencil to do my sketching with because I find if you're using like vellum paper that it actually creates like an indent in the paper, and obviously you don't want that. So I'm just doing light circular motions, not like super light, but definitely not going dark. Light, wispy. I go counterclockwise. You can do it any way you want. This way, and going in the direction of the fur line. So even when you're doing a smaller piece and it looks like it's all one color, it is not by any means. So you still got to watch the direction of the fur line. And it looks right here. There might be a little bit just like that. Okay. And we're just going to come back over and do it in, because you can do layers and get it to, you can get it more filled in terms of getting past the tooth of the paper, but you're also creating the color to bring it in more darkly or darker. Okay, so I'm going to set that there. And then we're going to need the burnt sienna. I can move my cat's tail away from my pencils. So right about here, I might actually do a walnut brown right over top of that. I might cover the whole thing with the terracotta with the burnt sienna. Actually, yes, I am. I'm going to go over lightly the terracotta with the burnt sienna, and then where I'm bringing in the darker areas of the brown, I'm going to use walnut brown right over top of the terracotta in those areas. So I'm going to leave that spot there. Looks pretty orangey still, but we haven't brought in the other browns yet. So next we're going to bring in the walnut brown, I believe it is. Yep. We're going to bring it along the edge here, because it's still lighter than other areas of the ear. But it is still darker. We still want that reddy orange tone, but put some brown in there. And this guy is going to come right down in here. And then again, he's right here, a lot darker. I'm going to avoid that little line we made there. Bring it in. This is also going to be darkened up a bit too, possibly with some black. Slight little round strokes in the direction of the fur line, or the fur direction. And then right here, we'll do some more blending in here in a minute. We're just sort of bringing this in so we know where we're working with the different colors. We're going to bring in that Caput Mortem Violet in a minute. Okay, put that back and bring in the brown ochre just here on the tip of the ear. It just goes up like this. There we go. And then we're going to bring in this Caput Mortem Violet. Since there is quite a blue tone here, just trying to avoid the yellow ochre. There we go. I'm going to go a bit up here. And again, just light circular movements as you do it. And we're going to bring this up here. Where it goes back into the brown walnut. So we're going to go back in and get the brown walnut. Just go back over. You could put Mortem Violet, trying to avoid. We can go in a little bit here. It's more near the edge of the ear. See how it gives it such a reddy tone, which is really nice. And then we're just going to lightly blend it in here. I might bring that Caput Mortem Violet up higher even. And it really does capture the color we are trying to get with that walnut brown. up here. Like I said, some of this will be covered with black, but for now, I'm just blending the pieces in together. It's going to get darker there as well. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can shimmy my cat over a bit here. Ugh. Okay, so we almost want... Apologize, the cat's knocking the phone. Still want to keep with that. I still like that red in there. That reddy tone. I'm just going to go very lightly, gently over this. See what it looks like. We need it better blended in. We need something else to bring it in with that has more of a red tone to it. Which makes me wonder. It's burnt sienna. You bring it in a little bit darker. It's these little changes in the fur colors that are going to make it have shape and form and pop from the paper, just like the eye does. So this gives it more of an orangey tone than a red, especially with the terracotta. So I'm going back over it, the walnut brown, just lightly. Sort of grab these little edges that almost have like an orange halo to them. We don't want that. Okay. Just gonna blend them down. The rest of the fur. Again, just to richen up. We could put more than violet and the walnut brown. Doing a little bit more of a pressure, but not hard by any means, just a little bit more than lightly in this area. Okay, and then we've almost got like a brown black that goes right into here and then wisps out into like a blonde color, which I'm thinking for that blonde color will be that, what color is this? Is this nougat? Oh, no, it is raw umber for the tip of the ear. So I'm just gonna grab that pencil and knock this out. Knock this line out since it's light. And you're going to start at the root of the hair and just sort of pull out in the direction of the fur line. So just nice little wisps. So pay attention to the photo as you're going. And this color almost comes down. It's Doing those light circular motions again. Comes down to about here. Very light line there. And then picks up again here. And stops. Okay. Put that one back. And then we're going to bring in, I believe, the burnt sienna into here. And it's right about here. That comes in. We're just going to, again, light circular motions up the ear. We're kind of going in this dark area of the ear here, as you guys can see what I'm working on here. It's sort of in between the ear, and then we can, I'm going to go lighter up here because I'm going to bring in, actually, you know what? No, I am for a moment, but light circular motions down here still. And I'm going to wisp this up to this color, kind of like this. It's quite dark though still, and darker than we have it. I'm going to bring in, for this color here, I'm going to bring in a little bit of the burnt sienna and just lightly go over this blonder section, just lightly, doing the circular motions again, just till we get to here. Make sure it's well blended. And I might even come in with the cream here, or with the ivory, I should say. I'm just going to blend that with the circular motions again. A little bit more smooth. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my black and lightly go over this brown area. I'm not pressing hard. I'm going very, very lightly because you can still want to see the essence of Moose's brown hair or brown fur. And then we're going to swoop up here. To avoid that blonde area would be nice because it could turn it a bit green with the blue of the black. So we're just lightly wisping up into that brown area. Okay. And then we're going to look back here where this darker area is. We're going to do the same thing very, 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 very gently. Barely touching the page. Just circular motions of the black, sort of wisping over top of this area to show the shadow. Okay. And then it seems to be right here in this dark area, not all the way to the edge, more in the center here. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little bit more of this walnut brown and just sort of bring my pencil in here just to sort of touch it a little bit better. I think that looks pretty good for Mr. Moose. Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit darker over top of this area here. Again, in the circular motions, using medium pressure. And then I'm just going to very gently go over this tip of his ear, just to blend it more nicely. And then just along this edge, just to clean that up a little bit. And then I'm also going to bring it and wisp it into the blacks and the browns and the blondes here. Just lightly. And then very gently I'm going to go over this lighter area here. Just gently. And then we're going to take, see if I have burnishing pencil, because I don't want to take away from the color. If you put white or cream over what you've already worked on, then you're just going to lighten the color, which is fine if that's what you're trying to do, but in this instance, I like to keep the dark. I don't tend to use burnishing pencils too often, but when I see the need for it, I like to use it as well. You can also use a blending stump if you want. Looks like this. Basically, it's rolled up pieces of paper. You want to be careful of your edges. So if you use them, and I use mine for sketching a lot, it can get color on the end of it, and then you transfer that color over, which is not good either. Well, I found an old burnishing pencil. So I'm just going to use that one since it is good to use. So I'm just gonna lightly get the color off the end of it. Just lightly wisping it around in circles. And then we're gonna come in over top of that and we're just doing those light circular motions again because we're just blending in just like that. That's it. Perfect. All right, now we've got his other ear. It is a lot more blonder on the edge. Keep getting messages, so I'm just going to check this for a minute. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So now we're going to start with Moose's other ear, as my cat tries to make my life very interesting at this moment. So we do have a lot of blonde right around the tips of Moose's ear. So I'm just going to lightly wisp those away. Let me do that when I have that sitting right there. Okay. If I can pick it up. Okay, and we're going to do a blonder shade, almost with like a creamy white, which is making me wonder if I shouldn't just do it in the cream, because, and if not, put ivory over top of it when I'm done, because that is the closest color, but it does need, no, it looks like it needs a little bit of brown of some sort. Let's see. We'll just map it in. It's almost like a glow around the ear. So we're just going to map that in a little bit. And then just thinking which of these I'd like to put in there most to create that blonde. I do have that raw umber. Come in very, 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 very lightly along the edge of the ear, and I'm just sort of wisping out very gently. Along the ear line, or the edge of the ear, is sort of wisping out in the direction of the fur. Just lightly. Just to get the idea started. We're still sort of mapping in the ear. I would like some terracotta in there as well. Right here along the edge. And then just lightly doing circular motions in the direction of the fur. Come in. Erase some of these lines here. And again, I just use like a light, like graphite, not pencil, but like not graphite sketch pencil, but graphite coloring pencil to do the sketching in it first. So this is going to be dark again, but I'm going to come up actually very lightly with the terracotta along the side of it. And then I'm going to go over it with, I believe, the yellow ochre. How it comes up here and then goes down and here. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that better. I can always blend in more. I'm not a fan of the yellow or the cream that I had down there. I'm actually going to totally take that out. Well, as much as I can, given I just don't like it. It's too bright. And that's that. So I'm going to come back in with, what is it that I'm using here? raw umber. And I'm just doing those light wisps again along the edge of the ear by itself. Of course, the cream is still there a little bit, but not nearly as bad as it was. It's not so glaringly bright in this instance. Then I'm going to bring it up into the terracotta again. I'm going to bring a little bit down right here into the ear. See how I'm still going in the direction of his fur. So I'm just doing a little back and forth movements. And then I'm going to leave that for now. Come back in with the terracotta over top of here just to sort of blend it in. And then it comes down like this lightly. It's a small little line. And then we have it going up the ear here. Okay, and then we're going to come in now with the walnut brown. And the walnut brown, I believe that's what I got here. Oh, no, that's nougat. That's not what we want. We want the walnut brown. We're just going to come in very, very lightly into just over top of this terracotta, just lightly. We're going to go back over a cream as well, but there is brown through the color, so I'd like to get that in there just lightly. And then it does look like we have some Caput Mortem violet there, so I'm going to come in here with the walnut brown this time. Sort of doing small back and forth motions in the direction of the fur line. And I'm doing it lightly at first to make sure I like it. Blending it a little bit into this ochre. And then bringing it down with the fur direction. Like this. And then into the corner here lightly. So we're going to build it up so you don't have to worry about the graininess so much right at the moment. And then right here as well. We're going to get that Caput Mortem violet. Did I put it back? Oh no, it's right here. Okay. I'm just going to lightly do little circular strokes in the direction of the fur line. And come up around here even to deepen it in. Up in here. And then we're going to leave that. Okay, come back in with the walnut brown just over top of the Caput Mortem violet in the same direction of the fur while I'm doing counterclockwise circular motions with the pencil with not a super light pressure, but not even a medium pressure yet. It's still pretty light. I haven't got the blend of the colors completely the way I want all of them yet, just this brown area, so I'd like to still work on the blonde a bit. And until I do that and blend them all in, then I don't want to don't want to set too much. Okay, I'm going to come in with the ivory and go along this blonde line here with the terracotta and umber. And yes, it's lightened it up a lot, but I want to make it kind of like a blondie brown. That makes sense, like a sandy blonde, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. Okay. This one goes in a little bit darker here. So I'm going to lightly do a layer of the walnut brown right in here. Blend it in a bit here as well. And then down along the ear here, it starts to get darker. So again, direction of the fur, just doing circular counterclockwise movements. And then I'd like to bring in a little bit more terracotta. My foot's falling asleep. Leaving the outside edge alone. And there needs to be a little bit more here too, the terracotta. Blending down into the blonde, not too much. And then I think I'm going to bring in some burnt sienna. To blend very lightly, blending over top of the terracotta, right down into the brown, of the walnut brown. Okay, and then down here as well. And here as well, just to darken it up a bit and deepen it. Right over this brown that comes down. Okay, into this darker area. Now I'm going to grab that walnut brown again. I'm just going to, still staying with light pressure, but just a tad bit heavier. We're going to blend these colors in together. Again, making sure to go in the direction of the fur line. Come back up here. I am still doing counterclockwise motion while going in the direction of the fur line. You prefer to do short, wispy fur lines like that, that works too. I just wouldn't press overly hard. It just helps get it, the color into the tooth of the paper, doing the circular motions, which is why I do that. I'm going over a majority of the ear now. Very lightly in the blonder areas. And I forgot to mention what kind of paper I'm using. In this instance, I am purely using a mixed media paper, I believe called Hoo Hoo or something like that. HU. It's cheap on Amazon. It's a good little sketchbook, mixed media book. May not be the best paper, but it's fun for little projects like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the cream. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go in with the burnisher, actually. So this one, of course, I can't see it. I don't know what brand this is, to be honest with you. I'm doing it lightly at first because I might come over that blonde area with a little bit more of the ochre in a second. Again, the circular motions to get it in the tooth. Just more or less. Just want to blend a few of these areas into each other. You can use a blending stump, you can use your finger, you can use a cotton swab to dry. You use a white or cream. I'm just using this so it doesn't take away from the color I've already laid down. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more of that yellow ochre. Or burnt ochre. I don't know, I have to check. Good to do raw umber. I'm just going to lightly at first over this area again. Yeah. And then just along the edges. Here it's a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to come back in here with the ivory in that same area. And we're just going to tone it down a bit. Nope. I do not need help, Mr. Kitty. He's gonna jump on my back here in a second. There he goes. Okay, now I'd like to look at this one. This is brown ochre. I don't believe that's one I just had. Might have been. Okay. And there. And then we're going to get that walnut brown again. And go over just slightly over these brown areas. The darker brown areas, I guess I should say. And then we're going to grab the black again. And we're going to just lightly, very like feather-like pressure, do little circular motions, come down, and then around here. Just to add some more depth to the shadows. Like this. And along the edge. Again, you don't want to get that black into the yellow, or else you could be creating a greenish color, which is not what you want. Okay. I'm going to go over it one more time along the edge, just lightly into the blonde. Another reason you go lightly is right there. If you go outside the line a little bit, you can easily get rid of it. Just lightly wisping over those areas. Okay. Just lightly. And then in here, it is flat against the ear, or flat against his head, I should say, not his ear. So it is got, he's got Mr. Moose. Just putting in a dark brown here, walnut brown still, along the edge of the ear, right here when it curves, it's a little bit thicker. And then goes thin again. And it goes right over here. Going lighter at first, as you can see, I'm building up my pressure once I know I have it in the right spot. And once I've given it a few layers, so that way I'm not going to leave it overly grainy. So just back and forth, back and forth. adding on the pressure. He's got a little bit of yellow ochre there at the top as well. There's the yellow ochre. I'm going to put some bistra right here. Run it right down into the blonde. It's not quite so yellow. This is the bistra. And then I'm going to take that black again, and I'm going to very lightly run it over the walnut brown line I did. Not dark, not heavy pressure. Just lightly. Just like that. And it looks as though Mr. Moose's ears are finito. Yeah. So next we'll be going into the rest of the face around the muzzle, and then we'll bring the muzzle in as well.